Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages old enough to know when to hit it and crit it, this is DMs and Dicebags. I am Malatach.
And I am Bleakborn.
I'm the potato known as Spud.
And welcome to the first episode of our new podcast.
What's our podcast about, guys?
Our love of dice rolling and jiggling dice bags. Just joking. You never jiggle another man's dice bag.
No, you never do that.
No.
Unless you swing that way, then that's okay.
Yes.
Well,
This is where you're supposed to defend that.
Me? You want me to defend it? I'm just saying.
No, I was thinking
Well,
there's Spud over there.
let me tell you, there's some dice bags out there that are very tempting to jiggle.
I know, mine's got like nice scale mail and nice shiny red, silver, and black. It's real nice. You know, I'm gonna jiggle it anyway. Oh yeah.
You might want to get that checked out.
My dice bag's very plain. It's just a Crown Royal bag.
God, I mean, who hasn't had a Crown Royal dice bag?
Me.
I'm shocked.
Really?
I've had like 8 of them.
Can't
Really?
drink.
So what? I had a Crown Royal dice bag when I was like 12.
Me too. That's my first dice bag ever, was a Crown Royal bag.
My family didn't drink either, so we never really had any Crown Royal around.
Neither did mine. I just ended up finding them.
Yeah, I think the D&D groups gave them out at the time.
Pretty much.
Hey, you're a new player? Here's 3 dice and a bag.
Yeah. Kind of wish they'd give out the Apple ones, because the Apple ones are nice. Those are green with the gold rope on it, and then they have now they got black. They got like a
Yeah, I
tan
like the
bag.
black one.
I don't like drinking it. I just like the bag. But we're getting off a topic here.
Yes.
Yeah, what is our topic again?
Why the hell are we here? Why the hell are we us 3 sweaty nerds sitting behind our respective cameras or microphones, what have you? And why are we doing this?
Sweaty.
No.
I am just going with the stereotype that have
Everything
befallen
else is
all of
entirely
us.
True. I'm just not sweaty.
You just wait.
Well, my hands are sweating, so
No,
if that tells
there
you.
it goes.
So
No, I'm drenched.
here we go.
What did you do to me?
Oh, sweat just dropped down my dice bag. Oh,
Ooh.
God.
Oh, you're gonna have a clammy dice bag now for the rest of the night.
Well, I know why I'm here. I'm here for the love of the game.
I'm here for the love of the roleplay.
I'm here because you 2 bribed me.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Spud's answer was very sexual. I don't know if that was intended.
Yes, it was.
There we go. You got your answer.
I need to count out my ones. I gotta go pay this guy. Hold on.
What did he say?
I gotta count out my ones so I can go pay this guy.
Oh, ones. I got
Yeah,
it.
we bribed him. Hey, do you have change for 1?
Not.
I have like 3 quarters.
Good enough. Pay the man.
I'll have to pay him later. I don't have it on me.
This is
Will
how
you
it
take
starts.
an IOU?
This is how it starts. Pretty soon
So I
you're
believe
gonna.
that answers are why.
Yes. Why are we here?
So, what about our win? When did we start?
Oh God.
I think most of us started in high school or earlier, but maybe that's just me.
Yeah. Well, I think our mutual friend Eric had a one-off campaign in middle school in which he would take everything I literally said and put it in a game. Like, when it was my turn and I had my spells ready, and like, all right, I'm going to go kick the spider's ass. Okay, you walk up and you kick the spider in the ass. Fuck.
Literal DMs.
Yep. And I think that was about the first one. We had no character sheets. I think we shared a dice, all of us, because it was me, or Eric was the DM. It was me. I think Weston was there. And
I could believe that.
And I don't remember anybody else who was there, but I know it was just us, and we're going through a cave, and I kept trying to use Burning Hands on everything.
Didn't you only have so many cast of it?
Yeah, but we also didn't have a book nearby, and I don't think Drew or Eric really knew the rules. But that was about it until I moved to the cities with Drew, and then it was basically just addicted.
Yeah, mine kind of started back in middle school. I had worked at what do they call it? A playhouse, doing the background stuff, painting and getting the sets ready for the plays to go on. And then we, some of the other workers there were actually playing D&D. And one day I'm like, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" And can I play? And then from there on out, I started playing D&D all the way through high school and then into college and then after.
My God. Hey, Mal, do me a favor real quick. How old are you?
I am currently 29 years old.
Oh my God. I'm still older, but not by much now. That makes me feel so good inside.
You are the elder
I'm so
nerd.
much younger than you guys.
You are the eldest nerd.
Sitting at a delightful little table, I'm the eldest. Actually, my start was in high school, and I was wondering, because if you were around Bleak's age, I was kind of thinking that I started before both of you, but now I'm not entirely too sure. Maybe. Don't know. Started in high school, and I had a friend that was so into it, it almost drove me nuts. It's like, "God, quit talking about it!" I want to shake the guy. Turns out, I started to get really into it as well. We had no books. We didn't even use any dice or anything. It was just all off the cuff. And, as he started to get into it, I was starting to get into it. So I started to, in drama class, where we were becoming thespians.
Didn't have that class.
No.
Maybe it's an archaic class. I don't know.
No, it's just for ones with PEO for schools that have money and like care and things like that.
I don't know if that's true.
Oh boy, don't get me started in the education system. That's a whole other topic. But we were in drama class, and me and my friend, people would get up on stage, do this or that or what have you. And me and my friend sat right next to each other. I would just be going over these details, as to what he's seen, what he's doing. And, I was basically playing DM for him, just him, and he was running through this scenario. No dice were involved, no sheets, no books, no nothing. Often those were just little explorations. And being the dick that I am, he would often try to run through a forest, and every time he said he was going to run through the forest, I told him he ran into a tree.
That's pretty good.
So that's roughly about where I got my start.
What was your guys' first character?
Oh, fuck.
I'll tell you mine while you try to remember. Mine, so I sit down for the session. I've never played D&D, and they're playing epic level campaign. And I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. They hand me a book, and there's prices up in the thousands. I'm like, how much gold do I start with? And they're like, no one knows. And I'm like, I think I'll wait. So I watched them play that night, and then the next time we played, we had started a new campaign, and I'm like, okay, no, it was the same campaign. I decided I wanted to make a fighter, because that was the easiest one to learn how to make. And one of the players had a dragon egg. And I'm like, okay, I really want that dragon egg, so I'm gonna fight him for it. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna fight you for that egg. And then he sets down the egg and then obliterates me. And then my character's dead. He didn't even give me a chance. He just rolled all the dice he had, and I was dead.
Kind of sounds like one of your campaigns. I roll all of my dice, and you're dead.
Hey, you walked into that. I did not force you to flip that switch.
You were given like 3 warnings.
Well, I wouldn't. It wasn't really a warning because nothing really, started, conducting lightning at the time. Plus, I couldn't hear or see you guys. So, anyway.
I'm sure pulling a dead body out of a thing that you climb into, thinking that I don't know. I thought that would have been enough.
But we digress.
Yes. Well, besides that character, which I can't really say it was a character because there was nothing ever on paper. My first character was in one of the campaigns that you ran, Drew. It was Grubnuts, the Barbarian.
Grubnuts. I remember Grubnuts.
Oh, I miss Apples. For those who don't know, Apples was a puffer sheep that lived on my head. Half sheep, half pufferfish. And
The dragon tip.
Yep. That lived on my head, wrapped its tail around my head, so it looked like I was like a 7'3" orc with a giant white afro.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've actually got nothing to respond to that with.
It was pretty hilarious.
You
Considering
got it from the one guy.
I got it from a hermit that wore cookware as armor and had basically the fork of horpulation. He'd poke me, I'd fly back 30 feet. He did that, I broke the fence, and because I had like a 5 intelligence, I spent the next 2 years trying to build a fence, not even realizing that the hermit and all but one of his sheep left. So I was like, poof, done. Where'd little man go? And there's a note, I left 2 years ago. Go fuck yourself.
So he must have come back recently to say I left 2 years ago.
And I never even noticed.
Yeah.
And so the sheep just kind of stuck with me, and I set it on my head and fed it apples because that's the only thing I knew it eated. And eated. See, I'm getting back into my orc now. I miss Grubnuts the Barbarian. And I called him Apples because that was one of the few words that I knew.
But I don't think that was your first character ever in one of my campaigns. I think the modern one was your first character.
Did we play Modern first, or did we play the fantasy one first? Because if it was Modern, then it was Miles, my security guard.
I don't remember. You should remember your first character. It's like a milestone in someone's.
I'm pretty sure it was Grubnuts because we played that for a little bit, and then we went through a labyrinth, and then I was fighting off minotaurs, and then way long after that, you brought me into a campaign that you were running with Bob and Brittany and Al and Ben and Weston and Samuel or Paul and a bunch of other people. And
people that no one else who listens to this will probably know.
Yes.
Except for them, and the shout-outs to them are going to be very happy.
Yes.
But I doubt they'll listen to this.
And I crashed through the ceiling into this into this area, and all of a sudden Drew's just like, yeah, a 7'3" orc with a giant white afro appears before you. And then the rest was history, and I joined them. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the first campaign that we did, because we didn't do D20 Modern until I started scouring through all your books.
I'm not 100% sure on that, but we'll let this one slide. What about you, Spud?
No, are we talking about in terms of character creation, regardless of pen and pencil, or first official character?
I think first official character.
Yeah.
Well, then that will probably be... I had a... Oh, God. The first time I actually did pencil and paper, I finally sat in a group. This was, like, years after high school. Like, I sat in a group, we had books, we had, like, a straight DM, all that. And we had some people that were really into the game. Like, they wanted to fit into character. So there was this one girl that played a male half-orc barbarian who when she came into play, she would wear a Viking helmet and use makeup to draw a unibrow on her brows. that was dedication.
That is definitely dedication. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And her character was my character's best friend. I play a little gnome wizard. My character often rode on her character's shoulders.
Adorable.
I was so against casting spells right away that everybody around me just like, why aren't you casting more spells? Well, I want to conserve them. It's like, and then she of course comes around in character. It's like, me never see little man cast many spells. Me not even sure he can. So,
sounds like how we treat your gnome there, Bleak.
Oh, yeah, that campaign. Oh, the Mortis!
God damn it. If you're gonna do that, you should really warn people who have earbuds in. I've taken
it's not as fun.
I've taken now 1d6 frickin' ear bleeding damage.
let me just roll that for you real quick.
I really like the voice you do for that character, or your character in that campaign.
Oh, what? Old Man Bones?
Yeah, that one's great.
Sweet, you sound like a mad prospector.
Pretty
He
much.
sounds like Master Roshi from.
Yeah, if my voice was back from being sick, it'd be perfect. Just. Come on, guys. Grab a hold of my grandfather clock.
Oh God, my head.
That little impromptu campaign was a lot of fun.
We got to do more of them.
And out of all the funny characters, why did I have to pick the serious one?
I was surprised on that one.
Well, basically every comedian needs their straight character.
And you chose
Usually
the
in duos,
straightest
but-
by being a damn paladin. You lawful stupid.
Hey, oh, hey, oi. Yes, I was.
And yet you conversed more with Bleak zombies than you did with any of the other party.
Yeah, okay, so I talked to the zombies, which are an abomination, but I got better conversation out of them than I did with anybody else. And Pete just scared me.
It was great.
Mm-hmm.
It was great.
We should do one of those playthroughs in a future episode.
We should. If you guys want to actually hear us do that, please leave a comment down below.
Yep.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
And
ring the bell.
Shameless plug.
We got the whoring out right away, and it'll probably come back at the end.
I'm sorry, I'm just unbuttoning buttons here. I'm just getting into character.
Wow, he's getting way too comfortable.
Good night, everybody.
What else? We kind of went way off subject. What we were talking about?
Our first characters.
I have a good story about another character I had. He also died.
Well, no way. Those were like just a couple of our whats. So we got the when and the what.
And the
I thought
who.
we did the why.
Oh yeah. Why what? Man, I'm doing these completely out of order.
When? We can do when, I guess.
We already did that when we first started playing.
And we kind of already got the where out of the way, to be honest. But we can do where, as in, where is your favorite setting?
Ooh, I like that one.
It's
hard to... Oh, go ahead.
I have a special place in my heart for D20 Modern. It's just, I don't know, it's just something about it. It's so fun. The fact that, you're in a modern setting and you're still having to deal with all this fantasy monsters and creepy crap. It's just, I don't know, something about it is fun. It felt a little bit more customizable, where, you're actually having, a job. And I think after that point, what the hell? No, that was my security guard.
Yeah.
And God, it was just a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think something also that helps with the modern campaign is it's easier to be in character because you're used to those things around you, and you can interact with the world a little easier.
Yeah.
Um,
3.5 always comes to mind. That's always going to also hold a special place in my heart because that was the
Well,
standard we played for so long.
well, within 3.5, what kind of setting did you prefer? Did you prefer the more comical things, the more grandiose that had the overarching plan that intended to last for a while, though sometimes only 2 weeks, whatever, or just something quick, something mysterious, something horror.
I kind of liked a mix of anything, everything. Any of the time that Bleak's DM'd any of the campaigns that I've played, whether, the hilarious situations leave me in stitches, and even in those comical settings, there's always been a underlying layer of epic coolness and seriousness that was just like that always kept drawing me in. Drew, I'm still never forgiving you for killing off my sister. I'm going to get you back for that. And
question is, which sister?
well, that one was from the mech campaign.
I killed off a bunch of sisters, but that mech campaign was one of my piece de la resistance. It was my favorite one I've DM'd, I gotta say.
But, well, you didn't technically kill off my sister in the modern campaign because I got her back. And then I think we started playing Magic, or we started doing other things, and then combination of me moving back to Grand Marais, we just stopped that one. I still have the character sheet sitting in my bedroom.
Wow, that's some dedication.
Because the campaign's not over. You have left 30 characters in limbo, Drew.
I've let a lot of
more than that.
In limbo. I have a bad habit of not finishing campaigns.
You've got Grubnuts, you've got Bartuk the Bloodbather, Miles, Kithkin, fucking... Well, I mean, Failstar's still alive and kicking now, so that's good. And he might actually live to see the end of this campaign.
You know that Bartuk and Grubnuts are actually the same character.
Yeah, basically it was just a reskinning of that because Grubnuts was the one beforehand. Bartuk, he turned into Bartuk when you brought me in with everybody else, and they all got to see, my puffer sheep.
Yeah, I wish I could have time to finish those campaigns or something. We always have something that happens. Like right now, I feel like we might not. My campaign might fall apart because we're just running into a lot of technical issues and timing issues and just. Ugh.
Well, it can also give leeway to another sort of situation too.
But,
because there's many things that the problem with being a DM is that you got all these ideas and you're hoping you can fit them all into one campaign. But I've noticed that a lot of groups tend to fall apart before a campaign even finishes.
Yeah.
Just because sometimes people may not end up being able to make it all the time.
The hell was that? Who's playing a piccolo? I'm suggesting that was Spud then.
Probably. To answer Spud's question, though, I haven't played a lot of different settings. When I've played, it's mostly just been regular high fantasy comical campaign. But the one campaign that stands out to me as my favorite, system was Vampire the Requiem. The first time I played it. Because we've always played team games, and this was back in high school, and then this DM made us fight and betray each other, and it was just such a different kind of thing. It just was easier to get in the character, and you were conniving and scheming, and my arm got ripped off by the main bad guy a couple times, and it was just wild. But I haven't played a lot of different ones. So I wish I had some more opportunity to play weird and interesting systems and stuff. as for fantasy settings, I really like the more of a serious tone / horror, but it is really hard to pull off when you're full of clowns as your party members.
Yeah.
What about you, Spud?
Well, I have a love for just about all kinds of stuff because you can pull influences from everywhere for any kind of situation. And I know that's a huge cop out, but bear with me. Um, my first campaign, well, one of my first, no, yes. Anyways, uh, was actually on Eberron. I had a friend that ran an Eberron campaign, and we played on the ever-changing continent, which D&D Online is based on. So we played on, in there, and we had a lot of fun. And it got to the point where it's like, okay, now each of us have 2 characters. How the hell did? Okay, so even the DM was like, I can't deal with this. So he basically did this huge cataclysm where everybody kind of died. There was 1 soul left for each pair, so you had to pick between your characters. I understand that. But that was actually a really fun setting. Shame we never got off the continent because I wouldn't mind seeing halflings ride dinosaurs because Eberron was always fun. But then, there's the mystical future of Numenera. That always fascinated me. Just how the world has died 8 times over, and you're on the 9th reincarnation of the planet, essentially. But then there's just all kinds of high fantasy, modern. It's really hard for me to narrow it down to just one.
Most of my most memorable campaigns that I've ever got to play, with the exception of course, Grubnuts and Bartug, most of my most memorable ones have been out of the fantasy, the standard like Dungeons and Dragons books. It's been in the D20 Modern, it's been in Homebrew Mechs, even Vampire the Masquerade and things like that. It's always been, I don't know, just because it's, I've played so many 3.5, and now we've played a couple, 5th edition campaigns. It's kind of hard to differentiate, this time I'm going to play a cleric compared to the last, campaign where I played a sorcerer and things like that. But when you get to play, I played a Nosferatu who was batshit crazy, basically fucking the Major from Helsing. That was one of my favorite characters in Vampire the Masquerade, where I just wanted a zombie, or not a zombie, but a vampire army. Like, I went for the whole, through Helsing, and Richard let me do it, and it was fun as hell.
I bet.
Well, speaking on this topic, if you guys had to play, got a chance where we had a full campaign, a full party, what system would you guys want to play?
Oh, hell.
Like, if you guys had where you'd be able to learn it right, sitting there, going through the books, learn the system, what would you guys want to play?
Am I DMing
Play or
am I
DM?
getting...
Well, for each of us, it's if we got a chance to play whatever system we wanted, and we can go back around the table again and about which one we would love to DM.
So yeah, let's go with playing first and then DMing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spud, you want to take this one?
Shit.
I was not prepared for the follow-up question.
No, I wasn't. Leave me alone. Let's see. To play, oh god, there are just so many I actually just want to straight up play. And
maybe we should flip-flop it and do the DM ones first, since we are DMs and then we're Dicebags.
I just want to throw rocks at you. Fine, to DM. Honestly, this is actually the harder one for me because I really like knowing a system inside and out. But if I had time and, oh my god, the patience, I wouldn't actually mind DMing in anima campaign.
That's what. As soon as you said, as long as I had the time, and then that follow up and the patience, the first thing that popped in my damn head was anima.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it looks like a great system, and before the new book came out, the old book, I'm like, we had someone run the system for us, and we were playing it. He had to read the book twice, and he still didn't get a grasp on everything. But now there's a new book out, and so it's been reformatted. It looks gorgeous. I wouldn't mind taking the chance and actually going through that just to see if I could get a game started with that.
I didn't know they did a revamp. I remember the heavy, like $75 book that I bought with, and
you might have the revamp. I'm not sure, but the old book was, pretty old.
Yeah, so it might be the revamp, but I've looked at it and it confuses the absolute hell out of me.
I think that's anime.
I even went through we're going to show you how to make Goku in anima. And I got halfway through it and I'm looking at it on the screen and I'm like, what in the goddamn hell am I doing? So many numbers.
Well, luckily with the old one we actually had, I think, some internet help in actually making a character, and we actually had a lot of fun just because our characters were so different and unique. We had someone who was just a lazy samurai that, I forget that. Yeah, well, I'm dealing with names here, man. But, he would quick draw the sword and just do it like a quick cut, and it would do lots of damage. I played a summoner. I summoned all kinds of elementals and all sorts of like that.
You
and
summoned
an
a
opera
lot
singer.
of things.
Things, yes. I was also an opera singer because, why the hell not? And Bleak over here, I think your biggest feat that you're most proud of was how fast you could run.
Yeah, I put everything into my agility or something, so I could run. I needed one more point to get to the moon and back, in one second. But at the point where we were playing, I could run. Was it 3 miles in a round or something ridiculous like that?
It gets stupid.
Yeah. So I based mine off Kakashi from Naruto.
Of course you did.
So I had a lightning. My main attack was this lightning jab thing, and then I just put everything into being fast. So I was purely a glass cannon. If my attack missed, or if anything happened, I was out. I wasn't doing anything else that fight. But it was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But Tyler's character, now that was funny. Him blowing himself up all the time.
Oh, and it went beyond that particular campaign, too.
Yeah, I remember him being...
I'll get to that another time.
I remember him being a tree in a campaign, or like a shapeshift.
Different Tyler.
Yeah. Or what, not Goldstein?
Not the G-Steen.
Oh, okay.
We call this one Mr. Dak.
Doesn't sound any better.
No.
He sounds like...
We'll talk about him someday.
Oh, we will, especially some of the campaigns he's run. Oh, God.
Yeah, his systems. But we digress. Who's next? You want to take it now?
For DMing.
Yeah, for DMing. Besides, of course, since you said anima, that's always been one of them that I've wanted to do. I've also wanted to play that. I always liked... I had an idea, and Bleak, you know about this. When we went to... Remember when Bob was living in town, and we tried that homebrew? I tried DMing a campaign that I tried to make the system as good as I could, but I didn't have a whole lot of time. It was based around the anime Darker Than Black.
I know, that campaign was cool.
Where
you gave us random powers.
Well, you had to roll for your powers. It was a D100, where you had to roll percentile dice to figure out what your power was and what your payment was. And I thought, I wanted to fine-tune the system more, but I thought that would have been a hell of a lot of fun. The only one, actual, legitimate book, besides the one I'm working with now, it was Zoids, is I've always wanted to play Big Eyes, Small Mouth. Yeah. the first one was a D6 system, I believe, but they did revise it to a D20 system. And I have that book, and I haven't looked at it in a while, but I've always wanted to play it because it looks like it's so much fun. Mainly because, Blake, I know you're going to be you're end up playing the frickin' magical girl class.
Yep, I totally do that.
And I think, the fact, anime fights are so fun to watch and so epic at times. And if this can do that kind of stuff, I've always wanted to play it. I've got a folder on a flash drive that's got like 200 different RPG books. From Bleach to Yu Yu Hakusho to frickin' Mech Warrior. All of them look so flippin' cool. But if
One thing I'd like to note about Big Eyes Small Mouth is something that I love. Any female character always had one ability given to them right away.
Yep.
I remember that.
Hammer space.
Of course.
They just had to reach behind their back and pull out whatever. I love that.
Kind of makes me want to read
Usually
it.
full of big giant pieces of weaponry or something.
Really makes me want to read a Deadpool comic thinking of that, though. But yeah, as far as that go, there's quite a few of them. It's so many to list. Like, I've always wanted to do the D20 Future because that's got the legitimate mechs and the spaceships and the space battles. I really wish we would have, Bleak, we would have gotten a chance to really play the Star Wars RPG.
Yeah, I know.
That we only got to play one session of that, and I was having fun with it. There's just so many. There's so many to count, but the ones that stand out to me would probably be Big Eye Small Mouth or Anima to DM.
Mm-hmm.
I guess for me, I would say I'm kind of torn because I've never gotten to really DM a World of Darkness campaign. I've done kind of one, and then I've planned 6 others. So that'd be one. But the other one would be I want to do Hackmaster. I really want to DM a Hackmaster.
Oh my God, Hackmaster! I completely forgot about Hackmaster. Shame on me.
Hack was my second campaign book I ever played, and I ended up with a character that had a missing arm. Well, I rolled double amputee arms, and then he let me re-roll it, but I had to take a minus to something, and then I rolled an amputee ear. So he said that the arm came off easy, but man, that ear when it took forever to cut off.
Are you talking about Aiden?
Yes, I am talking.
Oh,
about Aiden.
I miss Aiden so much. His campaigns were so fun to play.
Until Brittany broke him. But that's a different story.
Yes.
If I had to choose one, I think if I could keep the tone serious enough, I'd love to DM a World of Darkness campaign. But knowing all of you guys,
hey, I play serious.
You might as well just play Hackmaster.
It's a parody. Hackmaster's existence is a parody, so of course. I love the fact that you pretty much have to roll to successfully take a piss in that.
I like how if you roll high, it's usually bad instead of the other way around.
I love Eric's Truthful Assassin. That was probably the most hilarious thing I've ever seen. Because they questioned him about everything. What'd you do? I did this. Did you kill this person? Yes, I did. I'll show you the body. Come here. It was just... he was so excited. He's like, yes, I get to be the assassin class. I got enough stats. All right, quirks and flaws. Boom. First one. Truthful. Fuck. Oh, God, I laughed my ass off. I think I played a jester in that campaign.
The fun thing about Hackmaster 2 is we just made a lot of characters. We died a lot. But it was okay in that campaign. It's not like losing their long-time character because you're just gonna die in Hackmaster, so it's alright.
Bleak, you've seen my DM screen, which is a Hackmaster screen. There's a part because that thing, yeah, you have. That's the one that's 20 pages big.
Oh yeah, I remember now.
Yeah, that big bastard. And when you first look at it, it looks just like the picture of the Hackmaster book. Until you start flipping the pages over, and then the cover turns into this brutal, grotesque thing. People, lizard men are stabbing people in the eyes and they're cutting throats. When you flip that over to reveal that, you've done goofed.
It was like one of those pages has 6 pages that flip up, doesn't it?
Yep. It was just a graph of damage, of quirks and flaws, of maiming, of dismemberment, small little tiny thumbnail in the bottom of treasure that you could have gotten if you would have survived. But, God, where is that? I should look for that again.
I was also interested in playing, or I guess we can jump to the playing one now and I'll start us off, but I've always wanted to play the Star Wars campaign. I've DM'd 5 of them now.
Age of the Empire?
But I've never gotten to play.
No, the system that KOTOR's based off of.
Oh, because there's now Edge of the Empire, so that's what I was wondering.
Well, the newest one we were playing Edge of the Empire, but the other one, I've played 3-4 different ones. I've always wanted to play it, though. I've only been able to DM. Because no one else wants to play or DM Star Wars.
I would not be able to.
Exactly, and that's how everything always felt. Another campaign I would like to play is actually being able to play in a mech campaign. I've only gotten to do it once, and it wasn't even solely a mech campaign. One of my early DMs called Philip, he made a whole world and stuff where it was based off Ergo Proxy and mechs, and it was wild. It was a really weird campaign. But when my first character died, or retired, I couldn't decide. I couldn't remember if he retired or died, but I made a mech pilot. He was an elf, desert elf mech pilot, and that was a lot of fun. But if I had to choose, I would say I would want to actually get to play the Star Wars one.
For me, I mean, let's see. Well, I've played one vampire campaign, and I had a lot of fun with that, so I can't really mention that. Anima, of course, always wanted to play that. I usually only problem is I only end up getting to page 2 of the character sheet, and then the rest I'm just screaming at the top of my lungs for it to stop. But as far as playing goes, God, that is a tough one. Because like I said, I've got so many systems just sitting in a folder on my computer. And I'm going to have to just stick with Anima. It's the one that keeps sticking in my head.
I could dig it.
Because I've always wanted to play, and it's usually comes down to what kind of a class I'd like to play. And whether it be 3.5 or 5e and anything with a fantasy element, I've always wanted to play an illusionist. Just straight illusion magic. Unfortunately, in 3.5 and 5e, it doesn't really benefit anybody. At least from what the little bit that I've read through. But with Anima, I feel like I could really have some fun with that.
Well, because in Anima, there really are no set classes. You just make your own character and go from there. You build your own skills and everything.
Yeah. So.
To answer your question about 5e, though, the best illusionist class is actually the rogue into arcane trickster. And then just picking illusion and whatever the other close ones are. That's the best class for that in 5th edition.
But I don't think that's exactly what he's looking for, though.
I know. I'm just saying that would be the closest thing to manipulating people, because you use your intelligence and your charisma, and then you just cast these illusion spells and slip around. I mean, it's not quite. You're essentially David Blaine.
Wouldn't mind that. At least, be an easy way of making money. Just continuously with the shell game, and I win every time.
Well, the cool thing about it, too, is you can pickpocket with your mage hand that no one can see, so...
Speaking of that, God damn it, Weston. That plan was a great plan. Sorry, it was just from an old campaign. He did the shell game. I was the hype man. and it worked so damn well. We had zero money, but it looked like I was actually losing money that I didn't have to Weston, who didn't have any money. And we were doing it, and then Drew had to bring out his F you die, and natural 20, 19, 19, 18, natural 20. He knows that you're lying. God damn it. Oh, it was such a good plan. Anyway, Spud.
Everything.
I want to play everything.
Well, because there's so many systems. I'm like, you were saying that you had, 200 different systems or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to try and see what really works. Like, I know the quote-unquote chart master, or, roll master actually sounds kind of interesting to me. I have no idea why. I think I'm a masochist. I don't know. Maybe. But there's the Several World of Darkness setting types of games. Serious games, funny games, and anything in those kind of campaign settings. Like, we had Bleak and I were part of a campaign where it was a supernatural campaign based on the show Supernatural, and while we were going forward with it, things tried to stay serious. Bear in mind, it's us.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that, we played 2 different Supernatural campaigns.
Yeah. And basically, what had happened was, even though we were still being as serious as, we can be, things went to hell, pun intended, because hell broke loose, etc., blah, 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 blah.
Blame Weston on that one.
Yeah,
the
easily done.
Pacifist killed his father.
Yep, by tripping over a rock in just the right spot, where it's like, hey, if you kill him here, hell's gonna break loose. Oh shit! I tripped on a rock. Oh, well, that's a thing.
Yeah, plunge your dagger deep into your father's chest.
And it just so happened to kill him.
But the campaign got really good after that, though.
It did, but that's also a D12 system, and it was actually really fun. Well, a D12 base, and it was actually a lot of fun to play. So even systems that are just based on shows or this or that, they all sound fun, and I would love to try each one, and that's why I say everything, because I would love to be a player of Numenera. I'd like to see. I've got all the books, and I try to run a campaign, but I think I'd like to try and play it before I try and run it.
God, yeah.
And
if you had to choose just one for the audience,
balls.
I don't know that system.
No, neither do I. I'm sure it exists though.
If it exists, it's on the internet. So
yes.
Is that a Sega game? Balls.
Yes, it was. I think Dreamcast. Or at least that's what the makers of the Dreamcast said when they realized, oh, this isn't working.
Balls.
Yes. Can it be a system I have played before?
I think we were trying to decide of the ones we have not played before.
Okay. Well, damn, that actually kind of narrows it down quite a bit.
That's the point.
Shut up, man. Leave me alone. Don't need your crap. Yeah, I think I'd actually say Numenera. I would really like to play it because I think it has a lot of potential in it, and I would love to see one run before I would try and run one myself.
Okay. Your answer is accepted.
Huzzah! Ching ching, one for me. I actually do have a question though. Most people as DMs, well, I say most people. I'm probably one of the people, and maybe Bleak is another good example of it. I don't know about everybody else. I'm not everybody else. Anyways, reoccurring characters, even between campaigns. Do you have one?
I know Drew.
Oh,
I mean, I
everyone
know
knows
Bleak
mine.
one. I know Bleak has one.
Oh, yes, he does.
I have plenty.
Well, the one that instantly pops to mind.
Starts with a J.
Yes, it does.
We can go into a whole conversation on just him, but you guys should tell yours first, and I'll end with.
I don't think I have any reoccurring characters. I mean, I know in certain campaigns I've ran that don't have any many players. Like I had one that was an all zombie campaign. I did that at work with a slot attendant and a security guard that we'd play during our lunch breaks. And I brought grub nuts in, and so basically they had a little bit of extra muscle so they wouldn't just get wrecked. No, I don't think I've ever had a reoccurring character, whether it be an NPC or not. No, I don't think I've ever had.
Well, imagine that.
Well, you
Yes, I absolutely have. Bleak might not have been in one of the campaigns where he was introduced, but that's probably just because they haven't gotten around to him at that point.
Was it Bert?
It was not. Bert was actually he was first created for that recent campaign, and I might actually have to end up reusing him in other campaigns just because I like the character. He's just super hard to roleplay as. But the character that I tend to reuse, his name is Gunsk.
Oh,
and
yeah, I remember Gungst.
He's an educated half-orc.
Kinda sounds like Bert.
Bert is an educated druid half-orc. This guy is a spellcaster, like Arcane.
They're probably cousins.
Well, I never thought about Bert's last name, but you know what? That might now be a thing.
It's canon now.
It's canon. Yep.
Pretty much. But that character was actually the first character I've actually ever created. Like outside of pen and paper, he was the first one I ever made.
Cool.
My recurring character is called Jerem.
Oh God.
He's gone by many names in campaigns depending on the settings.
And depending on the players.
Like he's been Jeremy before, or Jerem, or he has a bunch of different names that I can't remember all of them now. But he's been in
not this guy again.
Yeah, he's been in every one of my campaigns pretty much since I came up with the concept. But he is a shopkeep who sells potions, but he's had drank too many of them, testing them to see if they're good, and his memory is kind of gone. So he has really bad short-term memory. So when you ask him what potion that is, he'll give you like 3 different answers.
And they're
he blows
all
up
right.
the shop all the time. But one of his, just on his little lore side of him that you guys probably don't even know, but he's just a standard wizard, but he has a familiar, which is an octopus inside of a water elemental that kind of floats around him. And then he also, if he's when he's traveling, he has a little treant in a bonsai pot tied to his backpack.
I didn't know that. I know he keeps his house or his shop in a potion bottle. I know he does that. I think in one of the campaigns you ran, he was consistently flirting with Drow.
That's just because Brittany was playing a drow, I think. It was the only female character, and I was going to make it really awkward for her.
Let's be honest. This is the only character I've been around for 5 minutes that I developed a real-life headache within the span of 5 minutes of being around this character.
You are forgetting about Voldemortis. That one gives you a facepalm immediately when you hear his voice.
And bleeding
Facepalm?
eardrums.
Yes. Headache? I'll get the headache around the 10-minute mark.
I get the headache.
5-minute mark.
I'm playing him. once the party meets Jerem, though, that session is pretty much over because they're just gonna spend time trying to talk to him, and he's just gonna be like, "Hey, welcome to my shop," and then you guys go in. "What can I help you with?" And then like 5 minutes later, "Welcome to my shop. What can I help you with?"
Oh, the voice has changed.
Yeah, the voices change. I can't keep voices straight or shit, but
You sure haven't lost. You sure haven't lost Voldemortus. You know.
That one's really easy though. You just really.
What we're telling you is change the damn voice.
No. I love Voldemortus. He's one of my favorite like random characters that he's going to be, and other characters are going to show up in all of my campaigns.
Oh God.
I'm
sorry. We're sorry to anybody who plays with Bleak from now on, because now there's just gonna be 2.
Yeah, well, there's more than 2, because I was gonna say Scramps. In any modern campaign, Scramps exists.
Yep.
And then Steve and Dave are recurring characters, but they're not always human. They're just kind of like a concept, and they're always in every campaign. They're always together. They're always life partners, kind of like Bert and Ernie.
They pretty much always die, too.
Yeah, they always seem to end up... They're like the red shirts.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And the last one is... I won't get into him too much, but Fronty.
You can't just, I mean, we know who Fronty is. You can't just leave it at, oh, I'm not going to talk about it, and then drop that name.
I don't know if it's appropriate for a podcast. Just gonna say
it's already too late. We're already, neck deep in this. Fire away.
Well, I will tell you his origin, because I think that's probably the most interesting part. So, I pop in for someone's campaign for one session. I just happen to see them, like, oh, we're playing D&D. You want to play? I'm like, okay, do I need to make a character? No, you can play this NPC or this other character we already have made. He was a 12th level wizard or something. And I'm like, oh, okay. And he's a gnome. And, like, oh, okay. And then he's very handsy and very sexual. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, let's do this. So I end up having to help the party slay a dragon. I really used the transformation spell in some really interesting ways to kill that dragon. To put a long story short, it was a... I'm going to sigh really loudly so you can hear. A giant spiked dildo when I climbed up the butt of the dragon to kill it. I don't even know if the dragon was evil. I just did it because. And that forever cemented Fronty as one of the most weird, interesting characters in a campaign, and then he's appeared in all of my campaigns since then as like this entity that seems to like really fuck with the characters.
Namely
in
me.
all sorts of ways.
Every campaign that I've ever played of yours, I'm the one who's targeted.
Well, he does like butt stuff. I actually based the character off Anthony.
But he does like butt stuff.
He really likes butt stuff. I mean, like, he's Anthony, just putting it that way.
God, I wish I met this person. To make that kind of a comparison between an actual human being and a shape-shifting gnome with a very big gray area when it comes to his sexuality. That puts
we'll have a whole podcast just on Anthony.
Oh God.
I'm sure we could get Weston in on it for that one. But we have to save him for a later date because I think he's just way more than anyone can handle for at least the first episode here.
Oh God.
So many suggestive.
Like episode 10.
It's called episode A for Anthony.
No, I'm talking like at least 10 episodes before we like delve down that particular rabbit hole.
We're not going down that rabbit hole for like a year, I don't think. It's probably safer that way.
But sooner or later, Fronty will always come find you.
So, we've answered the who. We've answered the what, the when, the where, and I guess we're on the how, right?
As far as what, like how do
That's
we
not a W word.
like how we DM or how we
I guess
play?
it's a Y, yeah.
Well,
We can probably go back to Y as well.
Actually,
I don't think
I kind of like what Mal is saying there, like as to our particular DMing styles, because, like, I definitely know between me and Bleak, there are two different types of styles. But Mal, why don't you go into yours?
well, when I'm DMing, I've always had a kind of a problem. Like any of the campaigns I have, I have a problem making a world, like an actual, like if something on a grand size, because it's hard for me to figure out all the little details. But if I put you in a city, just a small like city limits area, there's going to be a lot of stuff to do. I always have, like, I mean, in the vampire thing, you guys never talk to anybody, but I had like 30 different like random things that could happen, and I had a lot of detail into that. I always wanted to make, like when I play, I always ask my players to come up with a backstory, like a good detailed backstory, because then I use it against them. A girl I was dating a while ago, her character was, abused as a child, and always kind of had that sob story. Well, I trapped her in a painting with basically her family as cult leaders, basically, torturing her. And that was more of a serious campaign. But I always want every player to have personal experiences that kind of bring them more into it, whether it be good or bad. I always like to have custom, or not so much custom, but special things for each player, so that way they kind of, because I mean, when you play, there's never always like a team leader, or who's running who's the leader of this team or party, and who's making all the decisions.
Even though it'd be nice.
Yes, a lot lot of times it would be nice.
Quite a bit in a lot of campagns I've played. We've had a team leader, and he's de facto leader, but
it's never been like an official thing, like a stamp on his head, you're the leader. It's always kind of been like in the not the one that we're playing now, but the one before it, when I just played a fighter because there was no other melee class, everybody just kind of fell in line with what I was saying. And I think that, because we did have a couple newbie players who haven't been, really through the gauntlet like you and, all of us have. So, I mean, I can see that most players tend to follow the one who's the most experienced, at least in playing. But I always like it when every player gets their moment in the spotlight, where every player kind of feels like, yes, this was my moment and I kicked its ass. And
heck, one thing I've noticed with the kind of characters that I play, I do like a lot of supporting roles. Like, I'm that batshit crazy guy over there who just happens to, know some things, or...
Well, that's the reason, that's one big reason why I love playing this campaign that Bleak's running right now, is because this is, I always played a cleric, but then I prestiged him into, I prestiged to a mystic theurge, one I did with an elemental savant, and those were back in 3.5. This is my everything else has been fighter barbarian, or mainly barbarian. I haven't really played any real, like, straight spell slingers, or I made one druid, but it died before it actually, got anything, and I will never play another druid again. Brittany, I will never forgive you for that. I hope you burn in hell. I'm pretty sure your dwarf is already burning in hell, so I can take solace in that. But with Failstar, this bard, and this is the very first bard I've ever played, it has become my favorite character I've ever played, because it's basically just me. He's just a smart ass, doesn't know when to shut the hell up, argues with everybody, but then he surprises you doing some cool shit and, talking his way in and out of things. And it's always been that's And I still consider it a sport class because I'm not up on the front lines doing damage. I'm more doing janky stuff. I'm having so much fun with that because it's not so much I'm on the front lines. I need to worry about killing enemy. I need to kill this guy and tunnel vision. If I play that leading role, I always get that tunnel vision where it's just this needs to die, then this needs to die, then this needs to die. I need to stick my sword through this guy's butthole. This needs, and that kind of thing. With a support, with this bard, I get to have I have a lot more free time, or, not like so much free time, but freedom to think and to plan out stuff and kind of twist my spells together. And, I mean, I'm refusing to be the leader in this because, we talked about it. We want other people to kind of have their own spotlight because I've cut angels' heads off. I have, fisted giant spiders before. I have, done some pretty cool shit in other campaigns. A lot of these other players haven't. So that's why I'm kind of sticking back and having more fun in the role play aspect. And I'm loving the absolute hell out of it.
The funny thing is, a good portion of us socially will follow behind you because of the charisma aspect.
Yeah, I'm a loudmouth, so I'm cracking jokes. I'm breaking tension, which I know that probably pisses Bleak off at times when he's like, all right, I've got this serious thing. Dude, that hat makes you look like a hipster. God damn it! I'm trying to create seriousness. Hey, can I play with that? And I start pulling on levers and stuff and
killing yourself.
Yeah,
That's how you get killed.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm kind of that monkey wrench that I'm having a blast playing, but then it's not really. A lot of it does. I mean, I still feel like I am, contributing a lot. Well, mainly because I'm the only one that has heals, healing spells, so that kind of makes me feel special. But with all the random other magic spells that I've got, it's really fun not having to be the, what do? I hit it with my sword until it dies. I'm having a blast doing it, and I think, any kind of campaign, whether in 5th edition or 3.5, if we ever go back to that, I think I'm going to try to start playing more support classes that give me a little bit more freedom with the role play aspect. I'm enjoying that the most, where it's not so much, I'm here to kill this. No, I'm here to interact with this world that my dungeon master has been, formulating and all that. And that's actually become more fun to me than the actual combat.
And I think that's part of like a tier system too when you play. I mean, you're at that first tier where you just want to kill things and learn the game, and then you kind of get into the role play. And then once you've gotten through that, you kind of graduate to becoming a DM, like a solid DM, and that's all you want to do because you just want to give these people things, but then they never take it.
I mean, I guess that's, you could say that too. I mean, as a player, as this bard, there's so much stuff that I'm enjoying to interact with, and the fact that you've already thought this ahead, like I've been spending most of my off time when we're not playing, thinking of ways to outthink you. But it doesn't work because you thought of so much in this world that it's kind of exciting if I can find a way to actually throw you for a loop. Like I did when I died.
Bert has done such.
Yeah, Bert.
But
yeah, Bert was also the monkey wrench in a few plans. Like, I'm going to wait at this gate. The rest of the party goes into the dungeons to try and infiltrate the city. I'm waiting.
Well, it's because you're a noble. So, I mean, you really weren't a rule breaker.
Yeah.
But
he just didn't make the character that fit with the party's motif, and that's why he likes Bert but doesn't want to play him.
And
that was one of the reasons. The other reason was he's actually really hard to play.
Neutral characters generally are. But we're all kind of off topic, so let's jump back. And what was your original question, Mike?
Or Spud's original question was, how do we DM versus how do we play? Like, that kind of comparison.
Oh.
And, that's what I was saying. I want to give, when I DM, I want them to have the freedom to do whatever they want, but I want them to feel like it's not just cardboard cutouts of people. I want them to be able to have fun and interact with this world as if it was a real thing. And I want to give every player their time in a spotlight, where, a gnome or a halfling or something who isn't the powerhouse of the party and he's more of a support class, but there's, I want to make a section where in the campaign where only he can get us, get you guys out of the situation, where, he feels like he, for that session, even if it's just for that session, he is the MVP. I always wanted that because I always felt that it would bring people, and make them really want to continue playing this game and have, playing with the freedom. I always want people to think outside the box. Like when we were playing the Darker Than Black campaign, I said, I want you guys to use your abilities creatively, because I always like giving bonus experience. If you can think of something that I can't, instead, like the example I had was, there's a 5-story office building and you need to get to the top floor, beat the boss, clear out the bad guys. Well, if say he used, the players would break the fire, a fire hydrant near it, freeze the water, and then was able to climb up the ice to the top floor, bypassing all of the bad guys and killing the boss. That's using their abilities and using the world to their advantage, being creative. And that's one thing I've always wanted to do. I always enjoy doing when I'm DMing. And when I'm playing, I always want to do something creative instead of just straightforward, sword to the face kind of thing.
Yeah, that example about, outwitting the DM. One of my favorite examples of this has always been, all right, well, now you're trapped in a locked room inside of a cave, and now you have to find your way out. One of the characters happened to have profession mining, so he carried a pick with him. He dug around the door.
That's hilarious. I would have given him bonus experience just for that. Just like, boom, you get that.
I have a really funny one, and Spud was there with me in this one. We were playing Tyler's campaign. Spud is strapped into a chair like the Saw movies, and I'm the only one there, and I have to figure out how to save him. My first question is, does the chair have a plug-in? And then the DM just face palms and says yes, and then I walk over and unplug it. It was just great. It was just like I ruined his whole day.
Well, it was because the DM was, like, you know what, I'm going to be a sneaky little bastard, and you know what, I'm just going to say, okay, this thing is plugged into an outlet. And so he planned on his player thinking like, oh god, I'm going to get him out of this. If I do anything, it's going to cause this to happen, or this, and it's going to kill him. Unfortunately, Bleak here is like, is it plugged in? Yes. He unplugs it. Everything shuts down. Oh.
I hate you.
Well, okay, we're good to go.
That kind of thinking, that's always what I want players to do. And whether I'm behind the screen, whatever side of the screen I'm on, that is more fun to me than just straight on axe to the face.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, axe to the face works every time, but
not every time.
Well, you hit it enough, it's gonna die.
Well, Spud can tell us stories of reasons why that does not work.
Well, in certain ones. But getting out of combat through talking your way out of it, finding alternate routes, that was the most fun I've had. I always have that kind of fun in video games where I can find an alternate route to, instead of going through, legions of people, mindless or nameless bad guys wearing, strapped with guns. If I can sneak through an air duct bypass all of them and get to where I need to go and find some cool stuff on the way, that's more fun to me than Smash.
Well, I'll finally answer I'm gonna keep messing up because your Skype name is messing me up.
Yeah, don't look at it.
Spud's question. My DM style is very different than him.
Fuck over all the players as possible, as many times as possible.
No, I just spend way too much time on the world. Like, way too much time on each session. I put like 5 or 6 pages worth of typed out material down for every session, and we might go through a teensy tiny bit of it. And it's like, well, there goes all the, like, interesting things about that area, you know? Oh, you don't talk to a single NPC? Well, thanks, guys.
Well, but you're also one who has a plan, and you want people to kind of stick to that plan as much as you can by putting, like, roadblocks in their way.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes you have to do that, especially with the big group that we have. It's like, I don't have time to, spend going on all of your different ways. I never get to finish campaigns because of that.
I think that's what the one, when we had that 8, the 4 against 4 group in that tower, I think that's the one that kind of held that one back, is because, you would do a good chunk of a session with us, and they're like, okay, pause. And then you'd go to this group, and it kind of, you were trying to get them to be where we were, but it was because, it was 2 different parties, basically, and, our party was trying to get to the tower, the other party was trying to do other crazy stuff, and it got really out of control. But
it was really cool, though. Like,
absolutely.
I actually got a text back from Aiden after that, and he's like, this is the best I've ever played. Just because we had that little competition going in on that campaign where everyone had to be there first and get to the top of the tower, even though you only got through one level of the tower.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, because I was on Weston, Paul's, Ben's, and me, and then on the other side was Bob, Aiden, Brittany, and Al?
It probably was Al, would be my guess.
Yeah, and they were a door behind us, and I went and decided to fuck with them. I was like, create water, all right? Ray of Frost. So I froze the door shut so they couldn't get through. That, it was kind of a PvP kind of thing, but it wasn't really, I'm actively trying to harm the player. Another player. It was more of, I'm actively trying to just fuck with them. It was the only time that we've played, that I can remember that I've played, where I've kind of gotten to DM while playing, where it's just like, I'm giving them, I'm creating roadblocks, and it was just kind of more fun for me.
Yeah, I think everyone had a lot of fun with that campaign. I'd love to bring it back. But it's just so hard to DM for 8 or more players, It's just like a lot of people. You almost need a second DM to handle like the other party, and then when they're together, you just bring them together.
Yeah.
As for my play style, I really like to try to make a cool character, like, oh, he's so badass. But generally, it just comes off to being a ridiculously funny character. Like, I've never can get a serious, cool, badass character like a Strider. No, I've tried, it never works.
When I DM'd the Angels and Demons campaign, that half demon that you played, that was pretty badass. There really was
a lot of work to put into that, and you had to help me along the way by just giving me situations where it could be cool. But generally, like a standard D&D campaign, you don't have a chance to be as cool.
No, but I mean, that was you did kind of get to live your badass dream out. God, that campaign took so long. I remember you guys know. Well, no, it was like, oh, okay. Well, before we get into my campaign, why don't we just, Mal, why don't you bring your Angels and Demons out? We'll play that for a couple hours, and then we'll switch over. And it's like 10 hours in, and I'm like, okay, guys, do you want to switch? No. Fuck.
Your campaign was good. That one was good.
That was a 15-hour straight DM, and I had to work the next morning. I walked around just the next morning. What's wrong with you? I DM'd for 15 hours straight. My brain doesn't exist anymore.
That's when we used to play really long sessions in general. Like, we'd stay up till like 3 or 4 in the morning playing, and we would have started like early that morning the day before.
Yeah. I think I only had like a 4-pack of Monster Energy drink and a bag of Sun Chips to keep me going.
And that was like a week. Like, once a week we would do that, or every other week we would do a campaign like that.
Yeah, I mean, that was when everybody lived in town. And, you know, we'd go to Aiden's basement, or we'd go to Bob's house, or we'd go to Ben's house, and we'd be able to actually sit down and play physically, you know, with each other.
And those campaigns are fun. Being in person, in my opinion, is sometimes the best, because then you can see the little nuances of face, motion, and just like you're able to do more.
Oh yeah, and I mean, that's not saying that what we've been doing lately with Skype and all that hasn't been fun, but yeah, it is kind of fun when you can. It's easier to play off each other when we're all there.
Side conversations are a lot easier too.
Oh god, yeah.
I'm gonna circle back though to my like DM style. I really like to plan out everything. It kind of almost sometimes gets on rails depending on the campaign, but with the mech campaign, one of the ones I'm most favored, I would predict what they were going to do. Like in what situations, like, okay, I know Mal so well that he's definitely gonna do this, but I'm gonna have the secondary line just in case that he does this.
Yeah.
That was that whole campaign, and it was everything was like scripted, but not, because I wasn't 100% sure you were going to take that, but I had answers for your most common answer.
Yeah.
That's where I end up spending a lot of time, is like writing out the whole like extra like chains and what could happen, instead of just going. Recently I've been just kind of throwing like, well, this is what could happen on like a piece of paper, and then just letting you guys sandbox it, but I feel like the story's lacking then, and it's less cohesive.
Yeah.
But let's jump over to Spud, since my hard drive's getting full with this one, so I might lose us.
What kind of DM am I? I'm a bullshitter.
What do you mean by that?
Oh God, I bullshit damn near everything. Okay, an example is, you know, on that one-off, when we were trading off DMing, which I admit was really kind of interesting because it would throw people on the spot right away.
See, and that would be great for this podcast. Just
yeah.
But yeah, keep going.
Basically, we ended up in a room. Half part of the room open, people fell or jumped down. Not everybody fell into a secondary room that was just below it. It was a trap room, and that I've made that kind of room before, so I just kind of bounced off ideas from what I had previously. But things like that, I like that kind of room. I've completely bullshit before, and like it came up from out of nowhere, just because, you know, it's like, screw it, let's see what I can do to these people. And you know, so I basically throw them into just sort of situations. What comes on, what comes along comes along. Same can be for like a hedge maze that had displacer beasts in it. I didn't know there was going to be a hedge maze there. I didn't plan out the displacer beasts. It was fun though. So basically, I'm just throwing people into situations where they have fun. Now that sounds like there's like no world building, but I throw them into a world that has already been built, because being a writer, I've got all these worlds, these situations, you know, all these things that have already happened. So, you know, it sounds like I'm copping out. Maybe I am. Just throwing it into a world I've already created. But what happens in the world, that's all come up. You know, it's all just, most of it is made up on the spot. Every now and then I'll plan out some ahead, like maybe a dungeon here, like the entirety of the dungeon. But as to just what happens on the spot will be Oh, you guys find yourself against a frost basilisk. Oh, this thing has an aura of cold. Good luck. Yeah. Uh, how you guys doing? Oh, the cleric's down. Oh, um, he's gonna die. Hey, make a roll. Let's see what you get. Oh, hey, that's good enough. Your body shakes enough that it keeps you warm, so you're not gonna die from the cold aura.
Yeah, I remember that. Bing,
Yeah.
bing, 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 bing. I'm up in the sky.
Yeah, and Bleak over here is playing a druid. It's like, why don't you throw us up against more humanoids? I don't
I was
know.
playing a bard.
Yeah, and so he's up there floating in gaseous form, um, because he's useless.
It was bad.
Yeah, and I mean, even other campaigns that they've played, I honestly just make up stuff on the spot, and basically that's what I mean by being a bullshitter. When I do actually plan things out, though, I make sure that there's room for character deviation, because characters are good. Well, players are going to do what they want to do. I can't throw them on rails because that's not a world. I give them a direction. It's up to them if they want to follow it or not. However, I did put one player in a situation that his character would not have otherwise been in. And sure, it made me sound like a bad DM, but I made story for it, so it was okay, right? We basically had this guy who was actually playing an evil character. And since he wanted to play an evil character, I was like, how am I going to make this work with the rest of the party being good and him still being evil? Oh, I know. So I didn't tell anybody else, and it's like, you know what? You go ahead and be evil. Here's what you're doing. You were sent to assassinate this little girl who was, at the time, a princess. And so princess assassinated. Oh, well, that can, be really bad. So he sneaks into an underground passage, comes up, and attempts to assassinate her by various means, such as using a scythe from under her bed, just trying to do like you would see a shark going across the bed. Because it was hilarious.
It was really funny.
But, he got captured and then was sent to the prison. And it wasn't actually too long after that the princess was to be sent out and, to see the rest of the continent, to make diplomatic relations with every other country inside the continent. So we go, or one of the guards goes to see the evil character, says, "Hey, I got a deal for you. We'll let you out under one condition: you protect her." Like, really? Yeah. Okay, and so they let him out, and then they put a bracelet on him. It's like, what's this for? Every time she gets hurt, you get hurt. He became a good guy.
Really quick.
But he could stay evil. He just didn't want to hurt her or have her get hurt. That was the idea.
That's great.
So I mean, and
but
all that.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I just saying all that was just, just bullshitting my way through that. I actually didn't plan that out until it's like, oh, hey, you're playing an evil necromancer? Okay, I can work with that. Do I have to change my alignment? No.
By the way, everybody, I was that little girl.
Yes, he was.
Not surprised at all.
Nope.
I like that character a lot. She was interesting.
I
never played a 11-year-old girl before, but after that campaign I had.
I always liked having evil players in my campaigns because I would let them do whatever the fuck they wanted.
I'm sure there's always repercussions.
Oh God, yeah. Like the last time when I played DM'd the whole all zombie campaign, the main bad guy wasn't an evil necromancer, and he needed to get these crystals together to complete this ritual to get basically limitless power. Well, and I know when it comes to me DMing, especially like 3.5, I liked having all the books. You know, the vigor, you know, what was it, the whatever vigor mortis, the necromancer book. You know, the complete.
Necronomicon?
No, no, no. It was an actual like.
Oh, you're talking about the D&D book
Yeah,
itself.
I think it was like Libra Mortis, where you could
Yeah.
become like the true necromancer. I let you know because I always felt that it gave people a little bit more range to play with, and so I let him do it. I was like, go for it. And James was a monk, and he would he had a weird backstory where he had like skulls around his neck like Dalsim did from Street Fighter. Well, I was like, okay, go for it. But now know this, because those are the heads of your former masters who you've had to kill to become this monk that you are. If you lose that, you go batshit insane. So, what he did, or what the necromancer did, is he started making the skulls talk to him, get him to do evil things, get him to get his alignment changing a little bit, little bit. And then he started using like the weird cyst spell where now the monk's got like a weird growth coming out of him that the necromancer could see through and kind of control him. And it got to the point where the necromancer was so powerful, or Chris's character was so powerful, he could control the entire party with just his necromancy, and he betrayed the whole party and they all died. But it was the greatest, and well, actually, he didn't die. He killed the other necromancer, the NPC necromancer, finished the ritual, got limitless power, and then killed all the party. And I thought it was one of the greatest ends to a campaign ever, because if there's an evil character, then you can, I will allow them to screw with anybody, because that's what an evil character does. I want them to, think of, instead of, nameless, kobold or goblin, kill it. No, they want to have fun and, turn the, paladin into a frickin', shambling shell and be able to control him, do whatever, make him do whatever he wants. That's a lot of fun, because then it changes the whole place. It changes two players completely. The paladin is no longer a warrior of God. Now he's just this servant to death kind of thing.
Speaking of paladins going astray, to keep a paladin, a paladin's got to be lawful good, right?
Yes.
And, they'll have a phylactery that they can help guide them to being that way. But say a wizard were to, corrupt a phylactery without the paladin really knowing. So he still thinks he's doing lawful good. That's how I like to have paladins. It's like, hey, you can be lawful good. Maybe.
We've been going on for quite some time, so we might want to call it here soon.
Well, it just, my quick, to finish up the quick answer is, my playstyle is I fill niche roles and just try to come up with strange ideas as to how I can do so. So, yeah. Go on.
Me?
I think that's all we have for questions, right? For tonight?
Yeah.
I believe so.
Pretty much.
So who wants to do the ending?
Bleak.
Me?
Well, you guys pitch your stuff. I don't have any stuff to pitch myself, but you guys start.
I don't really have much to pitch. I'm just gonna say,
Hawk it!
If you like this video and want to hear more, please like and subscribe and leave comments for more questions for us to answer during our next podcast. Do you have anything to say, Mal?
All right. Now I'm going to pose a question to all the audience, and the best answer is going to get featured in the next episode. You walk into a tavern, and there is a group of albino dwarfs with rainbow beards, and they ask you, are you tonight's entertainment? What do you do? And I'm going to leave it at that.
And with that, you can leave your answers on our Twitter at DMs and Dicebags, Or you can also send us an email at dmsanddicebags@gmail.com.
Or you can just leave a comment on my video on my channel or on Mal's channel.
Yep.
Or on the channel for DMs and Dicebags itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if we don't get any answers, well, we'll just make one up and we'll go from there. Oh, we probably should have told them we're a bi-weekly podcast. So
Yep.
We won't have one next week, but expect one the week after.
Yep, twice a month. Varying lengths, about the same as we have now. We might cut this down a little bit, but yeah.
And if all goes well and people want more, well, maybe we can do more. Who knows?
Yeah, we do want to do a live, well, maybe live, maybe recorded, but especially some playthroughs of campaigns, whether it be serialized or just one-offs. We definitely want to do that. I would love to do a live stream D&D thing where people can basically control us, or the viewers actually, kind of like Twitch plays Pokemon. I would love to do something like that. Where the
DMs and dice bags get ordered around by noobs.
Pretty much. That would be hilarious. I mean, it's not going to just be noobs. We're going to definitely get some veterans who have played before.
DM the DMs.
Yeah, we're gonna get the DMs and we're gonna get the dice bags telling us what to do.
We're all victims to our own dice bags already. But...
Absolutely.
And just think, we'll have our own dice bags in like a year that you guys can buy if you like and subscribe and, actually like us.
Yeah. So
I feel dirty saying that, but I gotta get used to it.
So
you're whoring yourself out right now, Spud. Just get used to it.
Yeah, well,
Just
Am I
get used
doing
to
it right, guys? Please like me.
yeah. See, I told you we're whoring ourselves out twice an episode. At least this episode.
There'll probably be more in the next one, but I don't think our next one's gonna be an hour and a half.
Why not? The hell with it.
Or
Really.
longer.
It might be, it might not. I think people will hopefully enjoy it either way.
Absolutely.
This is Bleakborn signing off.
This is Malatach signing off.
And this is Spud being planted.
And remember, if you take anything from this, do never jiggle another player's dice bag.
Unless you really want to.
Have a good night.
Good night, everybody.
Or good day, depending when you're listening to this.
Shut up.
Okay, bye.